The Corvette is not just for red states. It's not just for blue states. It's for a red, white, and blue state of mind, as cheesy as that sounds. Because you can actually feel red, white, and blue when you hear that V8 at idle. Yes, some years disappointed us, sure. But the Vette always came back. Tougher, faster, angrier. It's a car built for our roads, for our skies, for our wide open throttle dreams. And as Americans, it's something we should all be proud of, together. Today we're going to look at two pivotal years in Corvette history, 1984 and 2019. 84 introduced us to a ton of technology. And like the book 1984, the C4 showed us that Big Brother was watching. Because remember, this is the car that gave us skip shift. Then in 2019, GM closed the book on that glorious V8 out front. And they sent off the C7 with maybe the best Corvette ever, the 2019 ZR1. Today we're going to start with some Corvette trivia. We're going to talk about some auctions. I saw some surprising things in the C7 market. And we're going to talk about some sales of everybody's favorite, least favorite Corvette, the 1984 C4. This is Bid Left Nut, the YouTube channel where we drill down deep into the value of cars that we love, cars that we lust after, and even some cars that we hate, and see what the cars you really love are actually worth. And ask yourself, would you bid your left nut for one of those cars? My name is Stace, and I most certainly would not give either of my nuts for a C4 Corvette.
You haven't even started the episode. Why would you say such a thing?
I'm joined by my co-host, Johnny Miata, who's much more forgiving than I am.
Stace, hi.
Today's show,
It's about Corvettes.
it's about Corvettes. Yes, two generations in particular.
So I'm going to talk about the C4 Corvette. And here's the thing. I know, okay? I'm just saying right now, I understand. Because if you think about a C4 Corvette, picture it in your mind. You can probably smell it before you actually see it.
I can smell the Marlboro lights. I can smell.
Yeah, they're old and crusty. There is that stigma about a very early C4. But,
You want to play a game?
Yeah, let's play a game.
So this is you guessing the year. And I'm going to...
Is it modern or old?
What do you think? You're going to guess.
Oh, boy.
So John is chewing a meat stick right now as we get our next segment ready. So this is called Which Corvette? He is going to have to guess the year of the Corvette from a picture that's shown. I've chosen monumental years in Corvettes. We start with the easiest of the easy ones. And if he can't get those right, he doesn't get to come back next week. If he gets those right, he gets to come back. John, this is serious business here. This isn't like a free ride. Everybody doesn't get a trophy.
I thought I was going to get a candy bar if I won. Now I'm getting kicked out.
You already had a meat stick. I've picked years that exclude the latest models because John is primarily an old car guy. Are you ready to play, Johnny Miata? Which Corvette?
I'm ready.
Okay, easy one. Softball. What
40th
year?
anniversary, 1993.
It's nice work.
Okay.
What year is this?
That is a 1963 because it's a split window.
Correct. All right, remember, we're starting easy. Next.
Okay. That's a 1982 collector's edition.
Why?
Because of the color. And it's got the turbines, and they charged a lot more for it.
This is the first year of the hatch that opens.
Ah.
Yeah. I didn't even think of the turbine wheels.
Interesting. So last year of C3 production, you know what we should do? We should make that hatch open. That's a great idea.
Yeah.
Interesting. Okay.
I'm guessing they had already built the hardware and architecture for the C4 and they had it around and they said, hey, let's put this into action.
Do you want to know a fun fact about that car?
John, can you tell me a fun fact about this car?
The collector edition C3, the 1982, last year of production, was $22,000. The next year you get the C4, which is, you know, completely different and redesigned and modern and amazing. And the base price was $21,000.
What?
Crazy.
Yeah, crazy. Hey, I always wondered, that's not true. So as I was doing research for this and I was thinking about C4s, I was wondering, why didn't Knight Rider drive a Corvette instead of the Pontiac?
I can only imagine that Pontiac was in bed with whatever the production company was, right?
Productions. So you're doing pretty well so far. 3 for 3. Let's see if you can keep that streak going. Tell me what's on the left. Tell me what's on the right.
All right. So the left is the later C4. The right is the earlier C4. So on the right is an 84. And on the left, what was the first year? 91 for this dash?
It's staring you in the face, dummy.
Oh, is it 90?
It's 90. Yeah, because it says 90 right there on it.
I thought they were just going fast.
No.
Now let me ask you a question. Which one do you like better?
Personally, I like the one on the left better.
I do too, but I remember when it came out thinking that I didn't like it when it came out. I didn't like the LCD either.
Wait, the 84, when the 84 came out, you didn't like it?
No, when the 84 came out, it was pretty cool. But then when they redesigned and went to the 1990, I like that dash less. I don't know why. It was very busy to me, as opposed to what? The one on the right? They're both busy.
Mm-hmm. You know what I like about the one on the left? Even though it is busy, especially the right-hand side of it with all the minor gauges, yes. I like the gauges. I love being able to see all of that stuff. And I feel like I'm piloting aircraft or something that needs my involvement. I need to know how much oil pressure I have, or the temperature, or how many volts I have. Am I going to be able to start the car?
Yeah, it certainly it provides a lot of information. There's no doubt about it. And I guess the aesthetics of it, I could question, but the amount of information you get is fantastic. It's so cool.
All right, you ready for another one?
Ready. It's a 1953.
Yep. Okay, so far you've gotten almost all of them correct. I'm going to give you only half a point on this one. Okay. Because you said 91. You said 91 at first.
I did.
Okay, and you said 53 here. That's good.
Oh, what year is that one?
Yeah.
53.
Correct. What makes you think it's a 53? Again, so the other white one, Polo White, and this one are both 53s. What made you so certain that this was a 53?
It's got the cheese grater headlights.
Yes. All right. Don't you just think of like a Corvette in front of a cornfield? Just seems natural.
It totally does. It's America. Like it should be in Kansas, and later we're going to go and see the soda jerk. Oh, all right. It's either 54 or 5. I mean, I guess it could be a 53 as well, but the detail on that body line, 55, because it's a V8 and it's the first year of the V8.
I am impressed. I'm impressed that you got that. Yeah, so the gold V 55 signified the V8.
I know my Corvettes.
You do. Apparently. Let's look at what's next.
Okay. Ooh, so it's a 73 because it's got the Endura front bumper but a chrome rear bumper.
Yep. Okay. You're doing much better on this than I thought you were going to.
I like Corvettes. Ooh, it's a C2 of some type. Or no, yeah, C2 of some type, because that's the front end. So 63 to 67. I'll say it's a 67. 65?
63. 63, only year of that badge.
Interesting. Okay, that I did not know. 63. Okay.
Yeah, consider yourself educated.
I am.
All right. Ooh, now we're going to look across. We're going to start at the left, and just so that you're certain it's the dark colored car, you're going to have to tell me what year it is based on the fender vents.
Yeah, this is hard. 67 is the one all the way to the left. 65 is the center, and 63 is to the right.
I think you got them all right. I have to. So I think you're right. I can't find my notes. Actually, they're on a piece of paper that's like across the barn. So we're gonna just say you're right. Yeah, he's right, ladies and gentlemen. All right, we're not done though.
I'm almost done.
Okay.
Hold on.
No, take your time. We're not busy or recording a show here.
I haven't eaten today. I mean, now I have.
Yeah, that sounds like a John problem. Okay.
All right.
I think we might have only a couple left. All right, so
Okay.
so you got these three correct. Let's take a look at this. What year is this?
That is a 62.
Why do you think it's the 62?
All right, so it's got the quad headlights,
Yes.
but I can't see the back if it's got the quad taillights. But now I can see it. So it's not a 62. It is a, oh gosh. Now I'm just curious if 60 or 61 had quad with the old school back end. I'll say 61.
58.
Oh, damn it.
First year for the quad lights. Your first incorrect answer.
So 56 came with the single headlights, 57 single, then 58 had the quad.
Yeah.
59 quad. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, you got me. Ooh, okay. I already said, I think 65.
Why do you think it's 65?
The three scoops on the front fender.
Anything else there? Give it away.
Is that a fuel injection emblem?
No, the side pipe.
Oh, the side pipes would make it 65. Okay.
Yeah. All right.
Kind of dig the yellow line tires.
Yeah.
Ew.
Oh.
Ooh. Listen.
Why are you being mean?
I would own a C5. Like, don't get me wrong, but
Okay.
it's not a flattering color. That copper color is not flattering. Also, I can smell the interior of that car from here.
What do you mean smell the interior?
They just smell like plastic and desperation.
Okay. What year though?
It's a 98 to 2005. I'm going to say it's 2000.
You're going to be wrong.
Oh, what is it?
This is a 98. So this was a special color. It's called Aztec Gold. There were 15 of these made. And I think they went to GM executives. It turns out that the car was really difficult to get consistency in the paint.
Interesting. I did not know that. Also, good.
Yeah. Yeah, you didn't seem to be a fan of it.
I don't like that color. But like coppery orange, like Mopar had a early aughts like orangey brown fetish, which I did not enjoy.
All right, so
in doing research today, realize there's so much more to the C4, and it's not just all about the bargain basement prices. These cars were amazing. They were so technologically advanced when they came out. So we're going to explore that today. We're going to talk about the way people felt about them when they first came out. And hopefully a little bit of that rubs off on the idea that we have about C4 Corvettes today.
I'm going to talk about C7s. Love the C7. But since we're a value-centered show, we talk about car values. We've got some surprises in the C7 world, some collector gems. We're going to talk about C7 collectibles. We're also going to talk about C4 dust collectors.
So let's talk a little bit about the C4 and how we got here. Because, as you know, this is the 4th generation Corvette. Before that was the C3, which was that Mako Shark-looking Stingray Corvette. And that car came out in 1968 and ran all the way to 1982. So we waited a really long time for the C4 to debut, and they had to get it right. The C3, the car that preceded it, was an absolute dinosaur. And along comes the C4, and it is incredibly advanced for the time. When you look at articles from Car and Driver and some of the other car magazines, they just gushed over how technologically advanced it was, how amazing the car was. The dashboard looked like an arcade. Nobody had ever seen anything like it before.
Was there a point where Atari collaborated with General Motors?
And while it may be a little stark compared to the C3, the C4 just looked like it was carved from the wind. We really had a big leap from C3 to C4. So let's talk a little bit about the details of the C4 Corvette. What made it modern? What made it great or not so great? What you have is a 350 V8, the L83. It only put out 205 horsepower. And it sounds like a very little amount of horsepower, and it is. But think about at the time what else we had. A Porsche 944 was only pushing out about 147 horsepower. A Toyota Supra at the time was a little bit more. It was about 160 horsepower. But cars just weren't pushing out a ton of power. You had an optional manual transmission. It was the Doug Nash 4+3 manual. They were fast. They were quick. They handled well. You can see 0 to 60 in 6.7 seconds. At the time, this was a legitimately quick car. The body was fiberglass, which was a Corvette hallmark. And these cars are known to squeak and rattle. They squeaked and rattled off the assembly line. So here's the thing about the C4. If you've ever been on Facebook Marketplace, you know that you can go and buy a C4 for well under $5,000. I mean, for $2,500, you're probably getting a runner. What I'd like to be talking about is the nicer cars, the better examples that have been garaged and cared for and loved, hopefully with low miles. All right, so let's take a look at our first example. What we have is a 1984 Corvette Coupe. It's got 17,000 miles on it. It sold back in June for $9,500. Let me just say it again, 17,000 miles for under 10 grand. Somebody kept this car really, really nice for all of these years. And all it gets is about $10,000. This car is an NCRS, the National Corvette Restoration Society top flight winner. One of the things that you'll notice about this car, it's clean, it's nice, it's the right color, it's black, which I love, but it's not pristine. And in some of the comments from this auction, people had said that. They were like, yeah, it's nice, but nobody bothered to detail it. And so how could it be a top flight winner? And the response was that everything is original on it, everything is correct on it, and you can always detail later. You can always clean up and make it as detailed as you want, but it's only original once.
So when this came out in '84, how many of these were made?
It's a great question, and I'm going to give you the short answer, and then I'm going to give you a little bit of a longer answer.
Oh, shit, right? Here we go.
Yep. So 56,000 is the number. There were 56,000 of these cars made in the first year of production, 1984. But
that's insane.
It was a year and a half production run in 1984, and here's why. Technically, there's no 1983 Corvettes. Actually, that's not true. There's one, and it's at the museum in Bowling Green. But
did they do that to, you know, make us really anxious or eager for what came out, so we would take any piece of shit that they offered?
That might be it, but really what happened was they had production issues. Oh. They had timing issues. So when I was doing research, there was issues with the roof and they couldn't get it just right. And by the time they did get it right, this would have been the last 1983 model of any car announced. And GM just decided to skip a year and make it a 1984. When they did that, they extended the production run for 1984 Corvettes. And I think that's how they got to the 56,000 mark. It's a lot of cars for the first year, but they cheated a little bit, and that's fine. But that's definitely why there's so many of these out there.
Can I ask you a question about the tackle box here? Is this like the fishing model, or is the glove box really that big?
I don't even think that's a glove box. It doesn't open.
Like, what's in there? Like a flux capacitor?
I don't know what's in it. I just know if you stop short and your passenger, because you didn't have to wear seatbelts back then, hit it, it would be soft as you got a concussion. It wouldn't be hard.
Okay.
Kind of weird. Kind of a weird detail on these, for sure.
Yeah. Was the steering wheel a newish idea with the two-spoke wheel? Because I'm thinking that the C3 had a more traditional sports car wheel.
I know earlier C3s most definitely had a three-spoke rally wheel, the GM rally wheel. Later C3s, I think, also had the rally wheel. I know that there were no airbags offered in 84.
Two odd questions about this photo here.
Okay.
Whose hand is that? And why
Huh?
is there a screw in the center console? Why would somebody just leave that there? Do you think it rattled loose, or is this the one that's going to quiet everything down?
I think that screw is factory original in its resting place. These cars have such a reputation for rattling and just making all sorts of crazy noises. So I'm totally not surprised by the screw there. I don't know whose little hand that is. That's a little creepy.
I was going to ask you a question, and we're spoiled now in 2025. We're spoiled by the interiors of cars that look like they were carved from one block of plastic.
Yep.
But in the old days, screws and other hardware were exposed, and it was like not a big deal. Take a look at the carpet. I mean, on the door. First of all, this carpet on the door.
Look, it's the best of GM at that time, because if you look at the rest of General Motors lineup, it didn't really get that much better. I mean, I guess you can make the argument that Cadillacs might have been a little nicer. I don't see any exposed screws in Cadillacs of the time, the Seville or the Fleetwood Brougham, but General Motors exposed screws, really all the manufacturers. We just didn't have the ability to hide the fasteners as well as we do today. We don't want to know how the sausage is made. We just want the door to work.
All right, so let's talk a little bit about, you said this one, let's zip back here. You said this closed at
$9,500.
Yeah, let's talk a little bit about what values of these are.
Wow.
All right, so if we look at Haggerty data for an 84 Corvette, it's pretty much what John was saying. The cars can be had for as little as $5,000, and that's a running car. Is there anything that jumps out at you? Are you surprised? Are you encouraged by the plus signs? So these are year-over-year increases in values. I mean, these cars, when you're talking about a $10,000 car, a $500 increase is a 5% increase, right? I mean,
I'll tell you what I'm surprised at, and what I kept seeing as I was doing research and thinking about these cars and seeing what the values are, is it really depends on who you're talking to as to what the values are. Now, we just saw a 17,000 mile, very clean, very original, award-winning, has documentation, sold for $9,500. How much better does it have to be to get to that $32,000 number? It's practically a time capsule as it is. It did need a detail. When you looked at the pictures up close, you would see like cobwebs. It wasn't anything bad. It wasn't rusty. It wasn't.
No, cobwebs are bad. Cobwebs are bad.
But they're not $20,000 bad. If I can negotiate $20,000 off of a $30,000 car because of cobwebs, I'll do that every day of the week.
Skeevy is not the worst thing in the world.
That's right. And some people love Halloween, so it would be a value add. So I'm not refuting what the numbers say necessarily. I was able to pull up $10,000 Corvettes all day long that were incredibly low mileage, incredibly original.
And we're going to show a few more of those.
Let's take a look.
Yeah, I wanted to ask you a question because typically you do see a discount for cars with an auto. I was going to ask, with the Doug Nash Choose Your Own Adventure transmission, was there a greater uptake in the automatic transmission? I don't know if people didn't like, or they just weren't used to how an electronic overdrive transmission worked on a manual transmission.
I'm going to answer it like this. The problem with the Doug Nash 4-speed with overdrive was that it quickly developed a reputation for not working well. So the overdrive, and here's how it works. The overdrive is on second, third, and fourth. So it effectively made it a 7-speed transmission, kind of. Mm-hmm. It wasn't used for power, it was used for economy. Because in 1984, we were still reeling from the gas crisis. And so a manual transmission that had an overdrive on second, third, and fourth gears could conceivably make the gas mileage that much better. I'll tell you what the early C4 is for me. When you talk about the Crossfire fuel injection, you talk about 205 horsepower, people go, you know what? It's not worth it. Let's just go for a couple model years later when they fixed all of that. That's why that makes this car cheap. It's still a good car. I do feel like there's a ton of value here, especially when you're looking at a 20,000-mile car. It is as close to factory as you're going to get.
We usually say that as a good thing, but sometimes from the factory probably wasn't the best. But that's today in 2025. When we look at it from 1984, 1985, we had a different lens. And
aren't cars time machines anyway? They put me in a time and place, right? And if that's what we're looking for with our classic and collector cars, there's not much more 80s than a 1984 Corvette.
So we're going to transition to the C7. So in 2019, General Motors wanted to give the front engine Vette massive send-off, and they did with the ZR1. Corvettes have always had a reputation as being lesser than other sports cars. Depending on where you're coming from, you may agree or disagree with that. But the C7, this is some exotic material. It had carbon fiber body panels, aluminum hydroformed frame. So we're going to bookend the technologically advanced 84, talking about the final year for front engine cars, talking about the 2019, which was a car that absolutely could compete with Ferrari, Lamborghini, Porsche. It might not have had the fit and finish, but the technology was there, the performance was certainly there, and it was a bargain compared to those. Specifically, though, I want to talk about the ZR1. The ZR1 was a one-year-only model, 2019, and it was a firecracker. LT5, 6.2-liter V8. I love the sound of a V8. Something else that's interesting is that this had a supercharger that was way bigger. It's something like 60% larger than the supercharger that was on the Z06. 2.6-liter supercharger. That's larger than most car engines. Tons of heat exchange going on in this car. 12 for the manual, 13 for the auto. The carbon fiber hood with the they call the halo was actually functional. It vents hot air. And I had a question about the rev matching manual, Johnny. Do we like rev matching in a manual car? In an automatic, in a PDK, I get it. In a manual, what do we think?
I mean, being a Luddite, I'm always for simplicity in driving experience, and I want to be in control. I want to match the revs. I don't want somebody doing it for me. But we can see that I'm in the minority here, right? That if the car can do it better than I can, shouldn't we let the car do it?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that can be said for a lot of machines.
That's true.
And so that's 755 horsepower. That's essentially what necessitated going from a C7 to a C8. That was as much power as you could get in a front-engined, rear-wheel drive car. Now, the engine is pretty far back, so it's certainly a front mid-engined car. But in order to get even more power, Chevy was going to have to flip the script, move the engine to the back, and that's how we get the C8. But the C7 is the pinnacle. This is as much power as you're going to get in a front-engine, rear-wheel drive Vette. Now, the ZTK package was mostly an aero package. It added this massive, tall wing that I could probably walk under. The cool thing about it is that it's not mounted to the rear hatch. It's mounted to the chassis. You'll see it in a second.
Ooh, I have a question.
Go ahead.
Do you know how much it would have cost you if you checked the box for the ZTK package?
That's something I actually don't know. I'm going to guess. I want to guess because we're all about I'm going to guess that it was $18,000.
$29.95.
Wow.
$3,000 for the package that you just outlined.
Like, who wouldn't get that?
$29.95 in my notes. How much weight increased from the first Corvette to the C7 ZR1?
Oh, this is a good question. The C1 was svelte. It looked svelte. It was shaped from fiberglass, and it was wild in 1953. And that car weighed, I think it was 2,900 pounds, 2,900 pounds, something like around that.
So the C4 had gained a little bit of weight. We also gained power and technology and all that stuff. So safety. We were at safety for sure, right? we were looking at about 3,300 pounds for the first year C4.
Wow.
And now we're looking at the C7, and I see that the curb weight is 3,600 pounds. It's getting heavy, but think about the jump from the C1 to the C4 and then the C4 to the C7, 300-400 pounds over that time period, and all the technology that got packed into the car and the increases in power. It's a modern miracle that we were able to do that with such little weight added to the entire package.
Right. And remember, 3,600 pounds for the ZR1, it's not an M3. M3s are pigs.
They are. It's
I don't know why I had to throw shade at an M3 right now.
I know the M3 did somewhere. Somebody's going, but I love my M3.
Right. What did it do to deserve this? The first one we're going to talk about, I thought was an auction record. It's not, but it went on Bring a Trailer just recently, this past summer, might have been last week, who knows, for $245. That's pretty impressive when you consider that the MSRP was about $150. Now, we don't know if there was additional dealer markups on this. We don't know that. $100,000, if you think about that as a percentage, whoo, that's a lot of gain. The first car we're going to look at is a 2019 ZR1. It's a 7-speed. Woo-hoo. Only 367 miles. Look at this baby. So it's got the orange tint coat. Gorgeous car. I happen to think this is a good-looking car. Now, I said earlier that I'm not a Corvette enthusiast. A lot of my, damage with a Corvette is that it looks like it's trying. I don't know that this car is trying. This car visually does what it claims to do. And I just think it's magnificent. Johnny, do you have an opinion? I see you raising your hand there.
I totally have an opinion. I can't help but raise my hand. Yeah, I gotta say, and look, I've never owned a Corvette. What I love about the C7 is it's unapologetically American.
Yes.
Right? It is not pretending to be something else. I think that you could make the argument about the C8 that it is trying to be a supercar. And look, it's a wonderful car.
Whoa, I would say, wait a second. I would just edit your sentence to say it's trying to be a European supercar, or it's trying to be a different supercar. The C7 knows what it is.
Yes, absolutely. And if you want to wave the American flag and you want America, like there's no greater car than the C7. You know what you're getting when you show up to this car.
Oh, look, take a look at this. So you can see here that the wing is mounted to the chassis. It's not mounted to the hatch. Might make it a little bit more difficult getting your groceries in or out, but I think it's a cool feature. So that all that 900 pounds of downforce at maximum velocity are pushing right onto the chassis rather than flexing a hatch panel.
Let me ask you a question: wing or no wing?
There are only two American cars that I like the wing on them, and they're closely related. This car and the Viper ACR. Those are the only two cars that I like wings on.
Okay.
Yeah, Viper. But yes, wing on this car. Most cars, no wing.
Okay. I think that's, I think if any car deserves it, it's this one.
All right. So whoever was selling this car, he's got good taste. I mean, I don't know exactly what this is over on the left side of the photo. Maybe it's some sort of
GT. 911.
Yeah,
GT3.
Definitely a 911 GT3. It's got those nice big vents. Here's that hood with the carbon fiber detail. So the hood's carbon fiber. That's a vent, not cowl induction, but cowl extraction.
Do you like the aesthetics of it?
I kind of do.
Again, it's unapologetically American, so go big or go home, right? Like that's what
correct.
We're looking.
We're talking guilty pleasure at this point. We're talking about, this isn't like a attractive fit model. This is like a Hooters girl. I mean, this is,
I think you're saying that because it's citrus orange.
You know what I mean? It's like,
no, I know exactly. I think
you'd be ashamed of yourself for looking at her, but you can't help it.
Somebody needs to just start staring at their shoes. I get it.
I love the badge. So you talk about being unapologetically American. Pay attention because there's going to be a test.
Okay.
I love this the sticker here that it's local 2164. So the UAW putting their stamp of approval on this. I like that.
Yep.
So one thing I will critique. So this is a thing that happens with the Vette. 99% of something is going to be amazing and wonderful. And then there are areas where they cut a few corners.
Right.
I think these pedals, I think they cut a few corners.
No, I think that when it was on the 2007 Cobalt Super Sport, it looked good, and it looks good here.
Yeah. I don't know if you remember a few episodes ago, we showed those beautifully machined aluminum pedals on the Alfa Romeo 4C, which costs a fraction of what this car cost.
I do remember that. And
But here we get these.
it's certain details for Italian cars, they knock it out of the park. And certain details on American cars, they forgot they had to do it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. One thing, you know, that this car or Corvettes in general get flack for is the interiors. I would say this interior is a massive improvement. I don't think anything's wrong with it. That's what I'll say. I don't know if you have an opinion, John, other than this photo being crooked, I noticed.
The photo's a little crooked, but the seats look beautiful. The carbon fiber is a nice touch.
Yeah.
No,
those seats have a magnesium frame and they have carbon fiber trim. That's pretty cool. If I was going to say anything about the interior, and this is just, I think, a hallmark of Corvettes, is that it gets a little bit busy. So if you notice this, the stitching that goes up from the center console up and around the driver's binnacle, that's two different materials, right? So in front of the driver, there's the micro suede. In front of the passenger, the top of the dash is covered in a nice plastic, but it's two different materials. If you look down by the shifter, we've got those two compartments. What about this hood? Look at that. You can see the neighbor's yard through there.
it is pretty cool. There is no doubt. So remind me, what did this car sell for?
It sold for $245 at auction in June. It sold to a dealer who, guess what they're doing with it now?
What are they doing with it now?
They're flipping it.
Sure.
Yeah, so it's listed now for $289. $290.
So look, we've had hot Corvettes, we've had fast Corvettes forever.
Yeah.
Why are these so expensive in such a short period of time?
Well, that's why I wanted to focus on this, is that this car, the C7 ZR1, with or without the ZTK package, hopefully a 7-speed manual, these cars are on a trajectory to increase in value. So we always like the last of anything. We say, oh, the last of it, there'll never be another one. Well, I think we can all agree that there won't be another front-engine Corvette ever. So people see this as the last iteration of the last Corvette that they really, really would want to have. Collectors have taken notice. People spec these in phenomenal ways. Even if you drive them for a few thousand miles, or even if you drive them for thousands of miles, you'll still get sticker.
In terms of production,
yeah,
because I know that certainly scarcity warrants a increase in value.
It does.
By 2018, 2019, there were not a lot of Corvettes produced overall. We know that.
No, sir. No, sir.
How many ZR1s were produced?
Yeah, so there were about 3,000 ZR1s, 2,441 or so coupes, and 512 convertibles. So 512 convertibles, but all the coupes had that removable carbon fiber hardtop. So I would get the coupe. You can see over the past year, the best quality cars have increased about 20%. On the lower end, a number 4 condition car, which I don't know how a 2019 could be condition 4, must have like tons of miles on it. Those are still increasing at about 10%. But the cars that we would see like in the middle, the 2s and the 2.5s, those are around $210,000. And we can see that in our Bring a Trailer data, where the trajectory is certainly up overall over the past 5 years. You can see that the angle is upward. The most expensive cars are getting more expensive. That's a truism in all of car collecting. The best of the best will always increase faster than all the rest. All right, we're going to look at another C4 Corvette. John has picked another one from all the auctions that have happened recently, and he's going to tell us some highlights about this car and
I chose this car. Now, this car closed a while back in March, but it sold for $10,000. It had
which is big money for an 85, right?
big money for an 85. And also, I know we've been talking about 84s, but the 84 and 85s are virtually the same. So I chose this car specifically because of the color. A 38,000 mile Corvette, it's very original, it's very clean. These cars were taken care of. They made so many of them, and people bought them and cherished them. The light blue with the blue leather interior just does it for me. So many of these cars are red or black, and having this color combination is just refreshing. It really shows how beautiful the lines are.
You know, there's a lot of talk about the panel fit. Is there like a metric or a gauge that people use? Like what is the measurement? Is it a credit card? Is it a pancake? What do people use?
I mean, it's somewhere shorter than a ruler, but bigger than, your whole hand. These cars don't have the best panel gaps. They didn't from the factory, but like the thing that people really harp on is the interior and how many squeaks and rattles that interior has. But I think this is a great example of a really nice C4. The only thing that I see letting it down, you can see the front bumper is discolored. It looks like it's old wax, and I'm sure that's not what it is. I'm sure it needs a respray. I can forgive this car for those paint blemishes because of the color of the car and the condition. It is a really, really clean piece. 40-year-old car that is in really, really nice shape. I think there's just a lot of value for money.
This photo, one light up, is that just because that's the natural state of these cars?
They are known for having issues with their headlights at this age. It's funny, they actually have a plastic gear that fails, which is why you'll see a lot of them blinking. And people replace them with brass. But the reality is the designers wanted to go with plastic because it's a failure point. And you don't want to ruin the whole motor if something gets stuck in it, so they made it plastic. That plastic ends up getting brittle, and that's why you see so many blinky Corvettes. So the interior, the interior is showing us the build quality, right? I mean, this car has seen some stuff. It's in good shape, but it's about as good as it gets. The gray interior, it's the leather option. It looks to be original. Again, you're seeing exposed screws. You're seeing the weird bread box in the dashboard.
You're seeing all this carpet, Smurf carpet.
Smurf carpet. I think I've said it in previous episodes. I'm a big fan of interiors that have color. I like the blue carpet. I think that it's pretty cool looking. It goes well with the exterior. But overall, you have a 33. By the way, let's go back to that for a moment. This car, and I don't think I've ever experienced a car with 33-degree air conditioning.
That's crazy.
And it's R12. In the listing, it shows that it's the original R12 that's still going strong. 33 degrees. That is ice cold.
One question, though. The car was sold in March. I don't remember where it is located.
It's in Pennsylvania.
Is there a chance that it was 33 degrees outside?
It wasn't until this moment that I thought of that. If it was 33 degrees outside and it was pushing out 33-degree air conditioning, somebody got the last laugh there. The guy's like, 33 degrees, isn't that crazy?
Yeah.
Yeah, dude, it was 34 degrees outside. That's nuts.
I want to ask you a question about these door handles.
Yes.
Are these the same door handles you get on like a Coleman cooler?
Maybe not a Coleman cooler, but you can definitely see the GM parts bin sharing, right?
I always liked the cinch button on the Corvette. I think every car should have the cinch button on the seatbelts.
It makes it so much easier. It's a cinch. Womp, womp.
Boy. I do like the man's shoes who took these photos.
Shoes, yep.
You and I do talk about car photography. Since we talk about auctions all day long here, we do talk about photography and how it affects the value of a car. The first C4 we looked at, and this one too, I think the photos are just a little bit sad. I know they're not expensive cars though, so there's a point where you say to yourself, how much do I put into the photo shoot for my $8,700 car? I get that. But it is funny when there's some photos that are just so wrong. Like the cockeyed wheel. I mean, put the steering wheel straight. The guy's shoes in the shot. I mean, like,
Is that a cassette holder or is that a CD holder? Well, there's a CD in
there,
there. So
I think they're cassettes. And all of the Vettes had, all of the C4s had a removable glass panel, or was this an option?
they had a removable panel. Some were painted and some were glass. The glass was an option. So I have some notes that I prepared, but I did not write down how much a transparent roof would cost, but it was most certainly an option.
Make up a number.
It was about $500 to get a transparent roof.
I believe it.
And very cool, but also very hot in the summer.
I bet.
Here's the thing about the seats in the C4. When was the last time you saw a C4 interior in good shape or even acceptable shape, right? Like, I don't know that I even understand what a nice looking C4 seat is. Like, I don't know that I've seen very many in that condition. And that's not even in great condition, but it's certainly better than 98% of the ones that I've seen.
I agree. I was actually going to say that I didn't think this was that bad. So this auction, let's just look at some of the comments. This guy said, amazing how little these are worth.
Yeah, it's again, this is kind of what we're saying, and framing it in the context of how technologically advanced these cars were, how anticipated they were, how good they were when they came out, how many people gave their left nut for this car. When it first came out, they sold 56,000 the first year. By the way, the next year, 1985, which is the year of this car, they still sold 39,000 in its second year. And instead of having an 18-month lead time, they had a regular old 12-month. So these cars sold really, really well. Nobody really appreciates them 40 years later. They don't go for a ton of money.
So wait a second, though. I think part of that might come down to the success of GM's engineers and the whole team that kept making the car better and better and better, where it's, other than nostalgia, I don't know why you'd want a C4. Everything after it is just better. Looks can be debated, but as far as performance and quality, everything after the C4 is an improvement. It comes at an odd time, right? So it's no longer classic. It's more kitschy than classic, where a C3 is a classic car. We think of that as a classic car. I think the C4 is just in between modern and classic, and it's just a little bit awkward.
It's sort of a postmodern interpretation of what we thought the future would be.
Right. And that's why I mentioned 1984 at the beginning. Absolutely.
What we thought things would be, and then as it turns out, now we are in the future, and it was nothing like a 1984 Corvette. Thank goodness. I guess even most people will steer you towards either a later C4 or a C5. And I understand why, because they did get much, much better.
What are we going to do? We're going to take a look at another C7. This time one that did not close at auction. It was bid up to a certain amount, and it went no higher.
Okay.
Clearly, the seller wanted more money for it. Buyers weren't having it. Nobody would give their left nut for this car.
Do you think it's because of the chrome wheels?
All right, so John makes a comment about the chrome wheels, and I agree with you. I don't think chrome wheels belong on this car. I think these are handsome, attractive, sexy, sporty, dangerous-looking cars. I think when you put the chrome wheels on it,
it just doesn't fit the purpose of this car.
Were these,
oh boy.
Were these even a factory option?
I don't think they were. I can't, again, we're going to dip them in chrome, which is going to make them heavier. But everything about this car is all about being as lightweight as a Corvette possibly can and providing as much power as it possibly can. So I don't know. I've never seen another one with chrome wheels.
Come on, look at the face of this car. This thing is, it looks like it's going to do some damage.
It is very geometric.
I just want to juxtapose these two faces. I mean, this one is aggressive and mean, kind of looks like it's sly, it's winking at you. This car just feels like a cry for help. It's like desperate. I don't know why the face of the car has not aged well. The lights look real dim. I mean, what's going on, Pop?
It is 40 years old.
But you can change those headlights. The front end of a C3 doesn't look sad or desperate. I don't know. It must just be me, because it must just be the feeling
No,
I get.
in fairness, the C4 was criticized for being bland when it came out. It went from that C3, which was very swoopy and very, just it had swagger. And this car, I think GM was going for refined, but what they really got was kind of boring. Yeah. And I get it. I see the sadness. I see a little bit of frogginess to it. Yeah. It might be the pop-up headlights. There's no eyebrows. Car has no eyebrows.
All right. So talking about the C7.
How many yellow ones did they make?
Oh, I don't know. Not a lot. All right. So this car, I mean, we talked about the wheels. Behind those wheels, though, you had carbon ceramic brakes, which is a big deal. Still is a big deal. I know every 911 comes with them, but to me, it's a big deal to have such exotic materials on a car at this price point.
Fair, but being the cheap guy that I am, whenever I hear carbon ceramic brakes, I'm like, that's awesome. How much do those brakes cost to replace? Because they're phenomenally expensive, is my understanding.
You're right. And to answer that, we're going to just change the subject.
Okay, terrific.
What else did I have to say? I wanted to talk about the carbon. Hey, so I thought this was an interesting detail. I bet that's not factory, right?
No. Is that a Punisher Corvette collaboration?
Come on.
Is it a decal?
You know that Corvette's not in the Marvel universe. I think it's apropos of the badassery of this car.
Yeah. Yeah. No. But yeah. The car's aggressive enough. Like, you don't have to. It's yellow. It's yellow. Like, you did it. You did it. You don't need to do the chrome and the Punisher.
Yeah. So
you did it.
You know, I do like the way this car looks with the top off.
Yeah. I think that there's an optical illusion where the rear end looks a little higher when the top is off. I don't know how that's achieved, but yeah, I don't like this car. I'm sorry. I like the C7. I like the ZR1. The options and the things that this car has added on makes me not love it.
Tell me specifically, is it the yellow with black trim? Is it the C7?
Yeah, I think as loud as I would want to go was the orange car that we saw before. I think this is too yellow, that the wheels don't. The wheels aren't adding anything with the chrome. I mean, never mind that I'm not a chrome wheel guy anyway. But and then the icing on the cake is that Corvette sticker on top of the intake. It's not doing it for me. But it did it for somebody.
For a little while, and then he sold it. Do we have a close-up? I don't like the blue of the calipers. I don't think typically blue and yellow work well. They're complementary colors on the color wheel. I don't think they're working here.
If you're a Rams fan,
you
really like the.
When you say that, then I start to have an association where this starts to make sense for somebody.
If you really like the Rams.
If you really like the Rams. Hey, I don't think you answered your own question about wing or not.
Oh, I did not answer. And from a purely aesthetic point of view, I do not like wings, because on 99% of the cars, they don't serve a purpose. They just make your car slower. On this car, it sounds like it serves a purpose, and the fact that it's tied into the chassis sort of reiterates that. I still don't like it aesthetically, but I understand why it exists, and I'll give it a pass. Yeah. But I'm generally not a wing guy.
Right, you're not a wing man.
I'm not a wing man, but I do love some wings.
Sometimes a wing nut. Yeah, it slowed the car down like 10 miles an hour or so from its top speed, but its top speed is over 200 miles an hour. So
Right.
not,
And I
not
guess that's always my contention, right? Is look, once the wing gets to a point where it's actually helping, is not a speed I drive anymore anyway.
yeah, but it's such a large wing and it's adjustable. You can change the rake of it, is going to help probably at highway speeds. I mean, and you
Yeah.
do drive highway speeds
I
sometimes.
mean, when I'm asked, sure.
Yeah. Oh, I did want to talk about another one of your cars.
This one?
Yeah. So if we could just go back to the C4 for a second, I wanted to ask John, what's up with the tint on this car?
You know, it's funny that you mentioned that, Stace Ghost, because as I was looking at different cars, I kept coming back to this one, and I kept coming back because I'm like, is this an optical illusion? I looked at it for a really long time, and I was really trying to figure out what on earth was going on. And the best I could come up with, and it took me a moment, but
Wait, I think I have a photo. Yeah.
yes, the defrost on the Corvette, you can see it here, is vertical instead of horizontal. And I think what ended up happening was somebody didn't want to mess up the defrost, but they were sick of having the purpley tint. And this was their solution. I'm not condoning it or saying like,
Wait. What do you mean this was their solution? They still have the purpley tint on there.
but half of it they don't.
Goodness. Are you kidding? It looks like ass.
I can't think of any other reason why. Like, did they really want louvers? But they were like, you know, it would be better than louvers.
It's not even symmetrical. It looks like it's certainly a mistake.
It's got to be a mistake. I don't understand. Somebody didn't have a steamer. I don't know. Okay. I don't know.
I had another question about this car.
Okay.
Do all Corvettes cry when they see a Porsche like this one is?
I mean, if I was a Corvette, I would.
Oh, I wish I was a different car.
Again, for the money. Oh, for the money.
Oh.
I mean, this is probably more typical of the type of Corvette that you're going to see on Facebook Marketplace. It's a clean one. It is.
It certainly is. And it's
clean
red.
One.
It is red.
Red on red is not my favorite.
Well, it's clean. Look, you talk about clean. Look at this.
It is. It is clean underneath. And that's the thing about this one and a lot of other Corvettes, especially C4s. It's the dubious sort of details, right? I guess I just want to see a C4 Corvette done well, without the chrome sill plate, without the weird peanut butter and jelly tint on the back. I want to see one that would be done the way I would do it. And so maybe I just have to go buy one.
Yeah, well, what's your dream Vette spec?
I'm an OEM plus guy. Like, I want an OEM car, but I want it to stand out slightly with some subtle details, so that you have to be a real car enthusiast to say, oh, okay. And so maybe one of the things I would do, I would have no tint. One of the things that I would seek out is a cloth interior early C4, just because it's different.
I didn't think it was an option. I thought all of them had leather.
Most definitely was an option. I would have a Z51 package. I would, what else would I do? It wouldn't be red. I can tell you that. It would be an offbeat color. That light blue one really appealed to me. I just want to see one that is well maintained and doesn't have a bunch of Pep Boy stuff on it. And I don't ever see that. I see plenty of C4s, but I don't see them as they came out of the factory.
Okay, that's fair. Fair enough. So here's what we found out. If you want a C4, there are plenty available. Prices aren't going anywhere. Like we usually say, buy the best one you can find,
Yep.
and you're going to be able to find a lot. John, is there any one year that people should watch out for?
I mean, it would be the 1984. Let's be honest here. It's the one that we showcased today, and because of the crossfire fuel injection, because of the the 4+3 transmission, they can bite you. But a low mileage car that was well maintained, I don't think you're going to get hurt. I think that cars that have been loved and cherished, you can find them for not a lot of money. So as you just said, get the best one you can find, and I think you're going to have a great time with it. And who knows, Stace, maybe at some point in the near future, I'm going to pull the trigger and get myself a C4 to see what it's like.
Well, if you do, then we're definitely going to do a wrap up, or we're going to do an in-depth review of that car here.
I think we have to.
I think we have to. So the C7 was the last front engine Corvette probably ever. And the regular C7 is still going to be, in my mind, a collectible. And for that to be true, the car is going to need to be, the car will need low miles and is going to have to be well maintained, maybe with an interesting color or options. The ZR1s, there's no question that those are on fire collectibles. People are going to buy those for a long, long time and spend more and more money. If you have one of those, hold on to it for a little while. That's what I would say. If you've got the money and you want one, buy one now, because in 2 or 3 years, they're going to be, they will be $300,000 cars. And they're going to follow the trajectory of the Ford GT, the 05, 06 car. That's my theory. I'm just a guy who pretends to be an expert on the internet, though.
Me too.
All right, everybody, thanks for watching. Speed safely. Remember to subscribe, to share this with your friends, and to post a comment.
Yes, very positive stuff, please. Or negative, I don't care. Just post.
Post comments. Ask us questions. Tell us where we were wrong. Tell us why we were right.
All right, you got anything else?
That's it, man. Good night.
Good luck.